The Walt Disney Company, led by current CEO Bob Iger, has been, reportedly, conducting a search for its next CEO for at least the last few years after Iger's failed Chapek experiment, where he would essentially lead by proxy, crashed and burned in a way that has forever stained his legacy. In response to that disastrous initial effort to find Iger's replacement, top executives at Disney, along with key board members, have formed a succession committee examining internal candidates within the company, and have even broadened the search to include external candidates most recently. However, a familiar name has resurfaced in which she'll be attending an event many believe to be her trial run at Disney's top job. Let's talk about one of Disney's heads in media and entertainment for the Walt Disney Company, Dana Walden, here on That Park Place. We've all heard the names of who might actually be the next CEO contender for the Walt Disney Company. We go back to some old names, maybe, like Josh Giamaro, for example, which I'm not quite sure there, Alan Bergman, and of course, Dana Walden. And we thought we were beyond these names, actually, when Disney actually expanded its search, right? And said, hey, you know what? We've been looking at these names, and we're going to go ahead and put this off by another year, and we're going to look at outside candidates. So we thought, okay, well, maybe they did pass up people like Walden and Bergman and so forth. People who have questionable histories within the company and haven't been all that successful running their respective divisions. Maybe in some ways they've won, but other ways we all have our doubts about their qualifications. Well, there is one name that has popped back up, and maybe she is back in contention for the CEO position. This one daps magic here. Dana Walden, co-chairman, Disney Entertainment, the Walt Disney Company, to speak at Morgan Stanley Media and Telecom Conference. Oh boy, this is no good here. In a move that is sure to raise some eyebrows, the Walt Disney Company announced that Dana Walden, co-chairman Disney Entertainment, will be participating in the upcoming Morgan Stanley Technology, Media, and Telecom Conference. The eyebrows will be raised as in previous years. The Disney CEO or CFO has been the one to participate in this conference. Indeed. So back in 2024 and 2023, respectively, Bob Iger was the host or the guest speaking at both those conferences. In 2022, it was actually CFO Christine McCarthy. In 2021, it was Bob Chapek. 2018, it was Bob Iger. And you know who was the speaker at this specific conference in 2012, Culture?
At the time, I couldn't even begin to venture a guess.
Jay Rasulo.
Oh, really?
Interestingly enough. Yes.
I like Jay.
I like Jay too. And I was like, oh, hey. And we know that he was in contention for the CEO spot, along with Tom Staggs at the time. Remember, they flipped roles.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, I do remember that. I remember that if you're highly effective and Iger doesn't want to leave, you get kicked out of the company. That's what I remember.
Yes, indeed. Disney is expecting to announce who will be the next person to lead the company as CEO in early 2026. With that in mind, Disney watchers are looking for indicators of who might take over for the CEO role. Walden's participating in this conference could be seen as a clue. She has been commonly recognized as someone who is on the short list to take over as CEO when Bob Iger retires. I will include this little bit of information as well, and I'm going to go ahead and hand off to you, Culture. Alex Sherman. You remember Alex Sherman from his amazing reporting on the, I believe, September 2023, a big CNBC spread there where he talked about the what happened between Iger and Chapek that had the whole thing basically fall apart in following Chapek's selection to be the next CEO back in 2020. He's very close to all this. He's very close to this succession process. He says this right here on Twitter. Walden's heir apparent, critics point to her lack of experience with public company investors. Well, here's trial number one. Okay, so he's saying out there, hey, look, listen, this is her time to shine. This is her chance to grab it. We've seen her on Bob Iger's shoulder attending places like Disneyland Paris for some unknown reason. We've seen both of them at the Oscars together. Culture, is Walden back on the list?
It's possible. I mean, Alex Sherman probably is right. I mean, this is a trial run for her to display her idiocy. But you have to remember, she's an incredibly vicious woman, and she threw Peter Rice out without even looking back. So, you know, she's she's wanting driven person. She's living in the neighborhood where she gets the nice little fun walks with Iger and others. So, she's going to stay on this list. She should have just continued to move on to other corporations and spread her wings, but I think she's really trying to be the first female leader of the Disney Corporation. There are plenty of female executives that are way more qualified than she is and have had more experience. In fact, one of them left the Disney board the beginning of this year, Miss Safra, who went back to Oracle. She was on the board of directors, and she kind of knows better what the future would look like as far as technology goes. So she would have been a much better choice for a replacement for Iger. But Walden here is driven by all of her ties to different organizations that were probably receiving NGO money from USAID that support the neo-Marxism of DEI, ESG, and all of that. Can she speak financial language? That's kind of what this is. Can she charm people at the same time when she seems like she knows what she's talking about? That's kind of what this is going to be. Do I believe that she's still on the short list? Yes. Do I believe that she'd be the worst choice for the company? Yes. So, of course, that's probably what likely will happen, which will make, I guess, maybe Jonas happy, or at least make Elon Musk laugh. I don't know, but there we are.
So we know her history in fields outside of Hollywood and entertainment. Remember, she was besties with Kamala Harris, and a lot of people found that to be a little bit eyebrow raising, especially when ABC was hosting one of those presidential debates during the 2024 presidential campaign there. Conflict of interest, maybe, perhaps. We all know what the fallout for that was. I think Dana Walden has been a very shrewd gal who has navigated these corporate waters well up until this point. So culture, as much as we may not want somebody like her to be helming Disney, unfortunately that might be the route that they go. I am discouraged to hear her name selected for a conference like this, because I mean, it's like I brought up before, it's usually reserved for very, very top executives right here, especially ones that have, a CEO or are at the CEO position, or maybe are in contention for the CEO position. So to put her there is an interesting choice. Now, Disney is kind enough to post the audio of these Morgan Stanley Technology, Media, and Telecom conferences on their company website right there. You can actually look up that, and it'll show you results for previous speakers and so forth, and the audio connected to them. I'm going to be very, very interested to see how Dana Walden thrives in this role right here, because I do think it's a trial run. I think Alex Sherman is exactly correct, and I want to know how, or what her thought process would be for taking on a company as large as Disney. That there, I think, is going to be really key.
And one last thing that gives me hope is the following thought. This would make the Disney company a target for the Trump administration.
How so?
Well, she already has been known to play very dirty in politics, and has quite compromised with, the depths to which she's soaked in DEI and a lot of this other stuff. Disney is already under some severe scrutiny because if they elect to maintain any military contracts in any way, or in any way be involved in the federal government, they have to divest themselves completely of DEI initiatives. Disney is incapable of doing that. They are bringing in the belonging word, which means they're just moving over to bridge. So, like you said, if she were to become the chief executive of that company, I would imagine the level of scrutiny that Disney's already under would increase exponentially, and especially after the fixed debate that was put in place.
Indeed. It's a story we're going to be tracking very closely. So I'm telling you, if you don't like Bob Iger, you really are not going to like Dana Walden, from what we understand. And remember, I think it was last year or so, it was 2023, after the fallout of Dial Destiny. There was a powwow at Lucasfilm, and it involved a lot of people, including some top-ranking executives. We have heard the grapevine that maybe Dana Walden was the one that was saying, "Hey, don't kick out Kathleen Kennedy just yet. Maybe Alan Bergman thought otherwise. So it might tell you, or at least provide you a little insight in where Dana Walden's headspace might be. We'll have to see about this Morgan Stanley conference when it is eventually posted.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.